Also, new developments in the case against the suspected shooter, 31-year-old Cole Allen. This is about last weekend's events. His attorneys are asking a judge to remove him from suicide watch as he faces federal charges and is due back in court May 11th. All of it following new video that is raising serious questions about the security at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Did you see it right there in that circle? This newly released video shows the suspect walking through the hotel hallway before turning into a side door, possibly a stairwell or restricted space. And as you watch closely, a K-9 unit crosses the hall. The dog appears to follow him inside, seemingly picking up a scent. Just seconds later, the handler pulls the dog away and they exit the frame. And then you can see that the same suspect then moved back towards security and as screening was wrapping up, ran past checkpoints armed with a gun. You can see the chaotic moment. Officers reacted quickly to stop the threat. Now officials are trying to figure out whether there were warning signs missed and if protocols were followed. Joining us now, founding member of the NYPD K-9 unit, Michael Gould, friend of the program, and always who we want to talk to when we're talking about K-9s because you've spent so many of your years training them and coming up with this program. So let's talk about the dog's behavior. What do you see when you watch this video?
Right, Laura. So I think this is going to be somewhat of a Rorschach test because what I see and what maybe the general public or some of my colleagues in law enforcement see is opposite. I see the dog alerting to odor, as you quite correctly said, the odor of explosive substances, which could be shotgun shells or so forth. And then it appears that he pulled them off. It is my opinion that the dog is a hero in this case because I think that changed the gunman's decision to run through the run past the magnetometers are actually taken down. This was already a secured scene for the most part, and this person premeditated it. His plan was probably to walk through, just walk into the venue, but instead the K-9 alerted to him. That officer may very well have asked him to step outside. We don't know if there was a conversation between them. That would be protocol. You pull the dog away, he alerts and indicates, you pull the subject, ask the subject to step aside, come out and interview him again, and then you would conduct your further investigation.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if there was a conversation, to your point. I don't know if we can zoom in on that circled area again. But when you look at the dog's behavior, talk to us about that, because we see the K-9 handler pull him back. But what do you see with the dog's behavior?
Yeah, I believe the dog was alerting or indicating to the presence of an explosive substance.
And we can say that with a gun, right? Explosives, gun?
A gun, or a bigger quantity in this case. This is called a vapor trailing dog.
Yes, let's get into that.
Yeah, okay. So these dogs are trained to detect odor emanating from a person, backpack bomber, or a person carrying explosives. Unobservable, minuscule organic compounds that emanate from explosives that the dogs are trained highly to do it. They're present in stadiums, they're present a lot. Rather than search a package, the dog is trailing and following the vapor trail or the wake, like a boat wake. Your scent is coming off your body.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Like the wake of a boat. The dog gets into the plume, the scent plume, and that's what I saw this dog. He was in this scent plume. And then the handler, obviously his only other choice is to pull the dog back, and he's going to investigate this person further. It's my belief, whether he had a conversation or not, the dog's present altered this person's decision to take his shotgun out and run through the venue. There's really no other explanation if you think about it. This was premeditated. Sure. He looked at this place. If you look at him going in, he actually looked sideways out of the corner of his eye to see that the metal detectors are actually being deactivated. And I think the K-9 team, whether deliberate or not, was the hero in this situation. Right. And by all metrics, it was a success.
But listen, when we watch the video and we see the handler pull the K-9 back, that's where people have that question of, like, why didn't he just let the K-9 move forward and assess the threat further? Right. But you're saying that that's not always the way it goes.
Well, that's typical. If you are online at the TSA going through an airport, the attendant, the screener, is going to ask you to step out of line, step off cue, and talk to you over. I'd let you know, miss, my dog is alerting to you. Do you have anything? And that, I believe, is what triggered him. So that was normal procedure. It looks, and I get it, from the untrained eye, it looked like he pulled the dog off. But these dogs are not Rin Tin Tin, and the police officer...
But he's walking away. That's the thing. He's walking away.
He's turning away, and I did notice that. But was it a question? And again, being the devil's advocate, did he say, sir, step over here, come out? Maybe not. Regardless of that, that triggered, in my opinion, the decision for the bad guy, the assailant,
Right.
to run through there. It makes no other sense to me.
Yeah, what doesn't also make sense, and we'll probably get some answers here hopefully soon, is we see the mags being disassembled.
Right.
During, the event was still going on.
Right, on a different floor, I understand.
Right.
And in law enforcement, we talk about it's 95% boring, 5% terror. That's law enforcement no matter what you're in.
Yeah.
And people do get complacent, and I'm not saying everybody becomes
Was there a failure here?
Well, no, I don't see a failure because all the metrics, nobody got hurt.
Right.
And the safety of the president, that's the Secret Service job. There'll be after-action reports. We'll get audio maybe. We'll get an explanation. But in my opinion, and I've done this, I've done this same situation 100 times at Ground Zero.
Yeah, someone did get shot. I mean, we do have somebody that was injured.
We did, but fortunately, it was through a bulletproof vest.
Right.
And law enforcement can never be 100%. Your safety is not 100% guaranteed. Mine isn't, nor is the president's. So, again, all metrics for me, this was an outstanding success. And I know some of my colleagues we can always Monday night quarterback it.
Sure.
And there'll probably never be another presidential visit at this hotel again.
Right. And what will be interesting, too, is to get, hopefully there are cameras that were in that hallway where he came from, and we see more of that. So the video is excellent. And, every time I have you on, we're talking about how K-9s are so important in law enforcement. And I'm sure that, as you look at this, you want to see more K-9s involved.
Right. And I would like the public to understand them a little better, because we look at these things and we kind of Monday night quarterback. The dog is a piece of technology, highly trained to detect odorless substances. There's no technology that can duplicate what a dog does, by the way. So, yeah, it's amazing to me. I think that there's not 100% success, but it's certainly a 95% success.
Michael Gould, I'm so glad to have you on the show, and I hope you'll come back very soon. Thank you so much for being here today and in studio. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.